Right now, you might think your problem is your strategy. Maybe you're jumping from one setup to another, watching endless videos, hoping the next one will finally click. But what if I told you, every trader goes through the same 7 stages? And where you are right now is exactly why you're not profitable yet. Because trading isn't just charts. It's a psychological evolution, a transformation. And each stage comes with its own mindset, its own mistakes, and its own breakthrough. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 7 stages every trader experiences, from the beginner who thinks this is easy money, to the trader who's been broken, rebuilt, and finally understands the game. You'll see why most people get stuck in the early stages, why some traders stay frustrated for years, and what separates those who quit from those who eventually make it. More importantly, you'll discover where you are in this journey and what you need to do to move forward. Because once you understand your stage, everything changes. You stop forcing results, you stop blaming the market, and you start playing the game the right way. So stay with me until the end of this video. Because after watching this, you won't just see trading differently, you'll see yourself differently too. Stage 1. The excitement phase. This is where it all begins. You discover trading, and suddenly everything feels possible. You see charts moving, people making money online, screenshots of profits, and in your mind it looks simple, almost too simple. You start thinking, this could be it, this could change my life. And honestly, that excitement, it's real. You open your first charts on your laptop, maybe download a platform, place your first trades, and every small win feels like proof that you found something special. Your heart races when price moves. You feel alive. You feel like you're finally in control of your future. But here's the truth no one tells you during this stage. You're not seeing the full picture, because in this phase, you're driven by emotion, not understanding. You believe trading is about finding the perfect strategy. You think if you just learn one more indicator, watch one more video, you'll crack the code. So you start jumping from strategy to strategy, chasing that feeling of certainty. And sometime, you even get lucky, a few winning trades, maybe even a streak. And that's where the illusion becomes dangerous. Because now it's not just excitement, and it's belief. You start to think, I'm actually good at this. But what you don't realize is, the market hasn't tested you yet. You haven't experienced real loss. You haven't faced emotional pressure. You haven't been humbled. This stage feels like progress, but it's actually the setup. The market is letting you in, slowly building your confidence before it shows you what trading really is. And almost every trader gets stuck here longer than they should, because they fall in love with the idea of trading, not the reality of it. But here's the key takeaway from this stage. Excitement is what gets you into trading, but if you stay here too long, it becomes the very thing that holds you back. Because the sooner you let go of the fantasy, the sooner you can start building something real. Stage 2. The I think I got it trap. This is the stage where you stop feeling like a beginner and start acting like you're almost there. You're no longer completely lost. You recognize patterns. You understand basic concepts. You've seen enough charts on your laptop that things start to feel familiar. And that familiarity is where the trap begins. Because now every time you mark up a chart, it looks right. Every trade you take feels justified. You don't feel like you're guessing anymore. You feel like you're making calculated decisions. But deep down, you're still guessing, just with more confidence. This is the phase where you start talking yourself into trades. You'll say things like, this looks like a breakout, but also support is holding. And there's momentum. Yeah, this makes sense. You stack reasons, not because they're valid, but because they make you feel certain. And that's the problem. You're not trading a system. You're trading a story. And the story always sounds good before the trade. You start believing you can read the market like a language. Like if you just stare at it long enough, it will reveal what's about to happen next. So you take more trades. You hesitate less. You trust your instinct. But here's what's really happening. You're becoming emotionally attached to being right. Every winning trade boosts your ego. Every losing trade feels personal. So instead of cutting losses quickly, you defend them. Instead of accepting you're wrong, you look for reasons you're still right. You zoom into lower time frames. You redraw levels. You wait and hope, because in your mind the analysis can't be wrong. But the market doesn't care about your analysis, and eventually it proves it. This stage doesn't break you immediately, it slowly wears you down. A win here a loss there. A cycle that feels like progress, but never actually moves you forward. And the most dangerous part? You start thinking consistency is just one small adjustment away. But it's not. Because the problem isn't your setup, it's your attachment to being right. Here's the key takeaway from this stage. The moment you feel like you've figured it out is usually the moment you stop learning. And in trading, that's exactly what keeps you stuck. And now let's move on to third stage, the reality check. This is where the market stops playing nice. Up until now, you've had moments of hope. Small wins, flashes of confidence, times where you genuinely believed you were getting closer. But in this stage, this is where everything starts falling apart. The trades you were so confident in start failing. The setups that always worked suddenly don't. The confidence you built begins to crack, and for the first time you feel it. Real frustration, not the light kind you can brush off, but the kind that sits with you. The kind that makes you question if you're even cut out for this. You start asking yourself, why is this not working anymore? Was I just lucky the whole time? What am I missing? And this is where most traders spiral, because instead of stepping back, they push harder. You take more trades trying to recover losses. You switch strategies again, hoping the next one fixes everything. You stay longer on the charts, thinking more screen time equals better results. But it doesn't. In fact, it makes it worse. Because now you're not just trading, you're reacting. Every loss feels so heavy. Your every mistake feels amplified. And now trading stops feeling exciting, and now feeling exhausting. This is also where doubt starts. You start comparing yourself to others. You see people posting their every wins while you're struggling, and it messes with your head. You think, maybe I'm just not built for this. But here's the truth about this stage. This is the stage that separates dreamers from serious traders, because for the first time, the market is forcing you to confront reality. Not every highlight of reels you see, not the easy money illusion, but the raw, uncomfortable truth. You don't fully understand what you're doing yet. And that realization hurts, but it's necessary, because this is the stage where your mindset starts to shift, whether you realize it or not. You begin to see that trading isn't always about chasing wins. It's about managing losses. You begin to understand that effort alone isn't enough. Direction matters most. And the most very important, you start realizing that the problem might not be the market. It might be you. Here's the key takeaway from this stage. This is where your ego gets tested, and most people fail. But if you can stay through this phase, without running away, without constantly resetting, this is where real growth begins. Because sometimes things have to break first, before they can be rebuilt the right way. And now for fourth stage, the breakdown. This is the stage most traders don't talk about, because this is where it gets heavy. Third stage shook your confidence. This stage breaks it. By now you've tried multiple strategies. You've put in hours, days, maybe even months staring at charts on your laptop. You've experienced wins, losses, frustration, and yet nothing feels consistent. And that's when it hits you the most. You're stuck. Not just in result, but mentally. You wake up wanting to trade, but there's hesitation now. You open the charts, but there's doubt. You take a trade, and second-guess it almost immediately. This is where trading don't feel like opportunity anymore, and starts feeling like pressure. Because now it's not just about making money. It's about proving something. Proving that all the time you invested wasn't a waste. Proving that you're capable. Proving that you can actually figure this out. And that pressure, it starts affecting everything. You hesitate on good trades, then chase bad ones. You close your winning trades too early, then hold losing ones too long. You overanalyze, overthink, overreact. It feels like no matter what you do, it's all wrong. And this is where emotional exhaustion kicks in. You're drained, even before you start trading. You lose trust in your decisions. You lose clarity. Some days, you even question if you should just quit, because nothing feels certain anymore. And here's the part that hurts the most. You realize that effort alone isn't fixing the problem. You've been working hard, but not effectively. So now you're caught in this loop. Try harder, get frustrated, doubt yourself, repeat. This is the breakdown, not just of your strategy, but of your identity as a trader. And strangely enough, this is where things start to change, because when everything you thought was working stops working, you're forced to look deeper. You begin to realize that trading isn't about doing more. It's about doing less, but with intention. You start questioning your habits, your mindset, your discipline, not just your entries. And this shift, it's uncomfortable. But it's necessary, because this stage strips away the illusion that there's a shortcut. It forces you to face the truth. There is no hack, no secret strategy, no instant fix, only process, only discipline, only self-awareness. Here's the key takeaway from this stage. This is where most traders quit, not because they can't succeed, but because they're finally being forced to change. And change is uncomfortable. But if you can stay here and learn from it instead of running from it, this breakdown won't be the end of your journey. It'll be the foundation of your comeback. Now let's go for fifth stage, the shift. This is where something quietly changes. No big breakthrough, no sudden moment where everything clicks. Just a shift. After everything you've been through, the frustration, the losses, the self-doubt, you start approaching trading differently now. Not because someone told you to, but because you're tired of repeating the same cycle again and again. Now you begin to slow down. You're no longer in a rush to take every setup. You don't feel the need to be in the market all the time. Now you start realizing that more trades don't mean more profit. They usually mean more mistake. And that's good. And for the first time, now you start paying attention to your behavior, not just only the chart. You notice when you're forcing trades. You catch yourself hesitating. You become aware of your emotions in real time. And that awareness, that's new. Before you were reacting, now you're observing. You see? You start journaling your trades, not just entries and exits, but how you felt, why you took the trade, what you were thinking in the moment. And now you see patterns begin to appear, not in the market, but in you. You realize that your biggest losses didn't come from bad setups. They came from impatience, overconfidence, revenge trading. And your best trades? They were simple, clear, calm. This is where responsibility starts to kick in. No market blaming anymore. Searching for perfect strategy had been gone for good. Now you stop thinking the next video or indicator will fix all your trading problems. Instead, you start working on yourself, your discipline, your patience, your consistency. And here's the good part for this stage. Your results might not improve immediately. In fact, they might still feel inconsistent. But internally, you're different. Chasing the market all the time had been stopped. Always desperate for wins is not your habit anymore. Execution is what you're focused on. And now, you start following your rules, even when it's too hard for you in the moment. Because now you understand the one and only thing that most traders ignore. Winning trades can't build consistency. Behavior does. This stage is subtle. It doesn't feel exciting anymore. It doesn't feel like success yet. But it's one of the most important phases in your journey. You know why? Because this is where you stop trying to become profitable and start becoming disciplined. Here's the key takeaway from this stage. The moment you stop trying to control the outcome is the moment you start controlling your process. And in trading, that changes everything. And now for sixth stage, the quiet consistency. This is the stage no one posts about. No flashy profits. No emotional highs. No, I just made this in one trade moments. Just consistency. After all the chaos you've been through, your approach now feels almost boring. You open your laptop, check the chart, and sometimes you don't take a trade at all. And that's okay. Because you're no longer chasing action. You're waiting for alignment. Your rules are clear. Your setups are defined. And most importantly, you actually follow them. Not perfectly, but consistently. You don't feel the urge to jump into every move. You don't panic when price goes against you. You don't celebrate wins like they define you. And you don't let losses destroy your confidence. Because now you understand something deeper. One trade doesn't matter. It's just a small sample in a long series. And that shift changes everything. You start thinking in probabilities, not predictions. You know some trades will lose, and that doesn't shake you anymore. You execute. You manage risk. You move on. No overreaction. No emotional spiral. Just process. And slowly, the results begin to reflect that. Not in a dramatic way, but in a steady, quiet progression. Your equity curve starts to smooth out. Your drawdowns become controlled. Your decision-making becomes cleaner. You're no longer trying to prove anything. You're just doing your job, and this is where discipline turns into identity. You don't force yourself to follow your rules anymore. It's just who you are now. But here's the part most people misunderstand about sixth stage. It doesn't feel like success, because you've removed the emotional spikes that used to make trading feel exciting. There's no rush, no adrenaline, just calm execution. And for some traders, that calm feels unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable. But this is what real progress looks like. Not dramatic wins, not overnight breakthroughs, but repeatable behavior over time. Here's the key takeaway from this stage. You stop measuring success by how much you make, and start measuring it by how well you execute. Because when your process becomes stable, profits stop being random and start becoming a byproduct. And for seventh stage, the detachment. This is the stage most people think is about money, but it's not. It's about freedom. Not just financial freedom, but mental freedom. By the time you reach this stage, trading no longer feels like a battle. You're not trying to prove anything anymore. Not to yourself, not to others, not to the market. Because you've already been through it all. The excitement, the frustration, the breakdown, the rebuild. And now, you see trading for what it really is. Just a game of probabilities. Nothing personal, nothing emotional, nothing to chase. You open your laptop, analyze the charts, execute your plan, and then you let go. No attachment to the outcome. No need for validation. No urge to interfere. Win or lose, it doesn't change how you feel about yourself. And that's powerful, because most traders are controlled by their results. A winning day makes them feel confident. A losing day makes them question everything. But at this stage, you're steady, because your identity is no longer tied to your P&L. You don't need a winning trade to feel good. You don't need to avoid losses to feel safe. You understand that both are part of the process. So instead of reacting, you accept. And that acceptance creates clarity. You see opportunities without forcing them. You manage risk without hesitation. You exit trades without regret. There's no internal conflict anymore. Just execution. And here's what's interesting. From the outside, it might look like you've mastered trading. But internally, it feels simple, almost normal. Because what once felt overwhelming is now routine. What once felt emotional is now neutral. And what once felt complicated is now clear. This is the stage where patience becomes effortless. You can go days without trading, and it doesn't bother you. You can take a loss and then move on instantly. You can hit a winning streak and stay grounded because you're no longer driven by outcomes. You're grounded in process, and that's where real consistency lives. Here's the key takeaway from this stage. The goal was never just to make money. It was to become the kind of person who can handle it. Because in the end, the market doesn't reward the smartest trader. It rewards the most stable one. So now that you've seen all 7 stages, the question is, where are you right now? Not where you want to be, not where you think you should be, but honestly, where are you? Because the truth is, every single trader watching this is somewhere in that journey. Some of you are just starting, full of excitement. Some of you are stuck in frustration, trying to figure out why nothing is working. And some of you, you're starting to feel that shift. Wherever you are, understand this. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not behind. You're not incapable. You're just in a stage. And the moment you recognize that, you stop taking losses personally. You stop rushing the process, and you start moving forward with clarity. Trading is not a race. There's no shortcut from stage 1 to stage 7. Every lesson, every mistake, every breakdown, it's all part of building the version of you that can actually handle success. So don't rush it. Learn from where you are, master your current stage, and trust that progress is happening, even when it doesn't feel like it. And now I want to hear from you. Which stage are you in right now? Be honest, drop it in the comments. I read them, and I want to know where you're at in your journey. If this video helped you see trading differently, make sure to like it. It really helps push this content to more traders who need it. And if you want more content like this, real, honest, no-fluff insights about trading and the journey behind it, hit that subscribe button and stay connected, because this isn't just about making money. It's about becoming better. And I'll see you in the next one.